everyone. I feel it really strong to do kind of an interlude between my part 1, 2, 3, and 4 Leviticus study. And this is like about kind of trying to admonish or encourage you guys to stand fast, stand firm, be strong. I kind of have this feeling that the labor pains are increasing, and 2020 is going to be, and I know this sounds really cliche because this is December and it's not meant to be that, but 2020 is like going to be a time of trying our faith. And why am I saying that? Because it just won't leave me alone, right? This idea won't leave me alone. And every day I come across somebody who is talking about their faith being tried, about the deceptions that are going on, about their feelings of isolation because there's a famine in the land. Not a famine of food, but a famine of spiritual food. And many are leaving the churches. There's a change going on, but becoming isolated, lacking in fellowship, and becoming mocked more and more, having more spiritual attacks of a different kind. The spiritual attacks are increasing. I was talking to a young mom the other day. She has 3 boys, and she was telling me about how every single one of her boys in middle school and one in elementary school has friends who are gay. There are gay clubs after schools. They're not allowed to have Bible clubs. And a lot of their friends identify as a different gender. It's like the thing. It's like the fad among the young kids. So what happens with these 3 young boys who are in a Christian home? Everybody they know is like this. And so to stand out, it's difficult at that age because, peer pressure and everything. It's even hard as adults in the workplace. It's creeping in more and more. And so what's happening, as I've said before, is Satan has perverted the minds of today's world to the point where these traits are regarded negatively, right? Our Christian beliefs. In Ephesians 6:11, it says, "Put on the full armor of God so that you will be able to," what? "Stand firm against the schemes of the devil." And I want to say, I've done my first few videos was on the armor of God, and you can go back and find them and search on my site. It is vital that we put on the armor of God, and not as a rote, prayer, like a mantra, but really understand the need for us to put on that armor of God of protection, because it really does work in the spiritual realm. And what's happening even today also is like, it's considered abnormal for a man to act like a man. It is just all backwards. It's all mixed. Homosexuality is considered normal. A brief pause with a word from my sponsor.
Our lesson for today: what goes up doesn't always come down. Especially when it finds such a good spot from which to look at the grand array of specialized Jeep-approved equipment that will do just about any job better. There's the trencher for digging ditches and the backfill grader blade for filling them. There's the wrecker boom for pulling ordinary stalled vehicles, the snowplow, the backhoe. All these and many other work-saving devices are controlled from Jeep vehicles' 3 power takeoff points: the front, the middle, and the rear. When you own a Jeep vehicle, you have a versatile workhorse that performs a myriad of jobs with the many items of Jeep-approved equipment. Look for this seal. Phone your Jeep dealer for a look at the full line of Jeep 4-wheel drive vehicles and an eye-opening demonstration. Look him up tonight. Call him up tomorrow.
Right? I don't have TV, but this young mom with the 3 boys does, and she said, I would be surprised. She said every show, there's a homosexual act on it. So you have these, 5-year-old kids watching TV with their parents, and they see men kissing men and women kissing women. It's crazy. We are living in the times of Sodom and Gomorrah. Maybe not as bad where they're knocking down our doors trying to, have fun with the visitor, because we're not in the time where it's in one town, right? Where those acts, Sodom and Gomorrah, was one town. And people that lived in other towns knew that if they went to Sodom and Gomorrah, this might happen to them. This is everywhere. It's not just San Francisco, right? It's everywhere. But at work, we get mocked and persecuted. If we stand, we can't say anything. We have to act like little sheep, right? So another scripture is back in Ephesians 6:13. It says again, "Therefore put on the full armor of God, so that when the day of evil comes, you may be able to stand your ground. And after you have done everything, to stand." We're in those days, guys. We're like the first, the Omega, the Alpha and the Omega, the first and the last. First church, the last church. We are really in the last days. We're like the first church. And so these New Testament admonishments really need to speak to us today. It's really important. We're going to go through a lot of the things like they did in the first church. In 1 Peter 5:9, it says, "But resist him, firm in your faith, knowing that the same experiences of suffering are being accomplished by your brethren who are in the world." Okay? So that says it right there, what I was just trying to say earlier. And in 1 Corinthians 15:58, it says, "Be steadfast, immovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord." So it's really important what I'm trying to say to you. I really feel like 2020 is going to be a time of faith trying. It's going to increase, and it's going to be more and more important that we stand firm. We also have a lot of Christians that are isolating themselves, leaving the churches, because there's a famine. We're not getting the food, the spiritual food that we need. And homosexuality and acceptance and lies and deceit is coming into the churches, rampant. So where do we go? We leave the church. It's like God's calling us out of those places, but we find ourselves isolated and therefore more vulnerable. So I really encourage you to try to reach out. In Philippians 1:27, it says, "Conduct yourselves in a manner worthy of the gospel of Christ, so that whether I come, see you, or remain absent, I will hear of you that you are standing firm in one spirit, with one mind, striving together for the faith of the gospel." Now, back in the Roman days when this was written, there were little hubbles of Christians. They all found each other. They went from home to home. There wasn't technology like there is now. We need to really pray that we find each other in this way again, I think. I'm also thinking that I'd like to start, if I get any takers, is like a virtual prayer, weekly prayer meeting. Sit and pray for these things that we see, to share and give a little bit of fellowship out of like Google Hangouts or, Skype or something. I think it's really important to find some kind of fellowship. In Philippians 4:1, it says, "Therefore, my beloved brethren, whom I long to see, my joy and crown, in this way stand firm in the Lord, my beloved." What we do is we have to know God is faithful, right? And we don't have to need to worry about how He will be faithful, okay? But instead, we need to take care of our end of the deal, right? Be vigilant, standing firm in the faith, courageous and strong, doing everything in concern for others, right? Be like men, even though we might be women. Also, a lot of people are faced with temptation, right? That's why we need to stand firm. Temptation to compromise ourselves or to minimize the faith of Jesus Christ and the way that we should be. Okay, we need to not only watch, but stand in the faith with courage. We need to protect our loved ones in their way of life, right? So our children, our young children, we need to protect them. I just want you to be strong and of good courage. Be courageous, right? God bless you.